What's up guys, my name's Joe and today I'm going to show you how to use Fruity Parametric EQ 2. So first you want to start out in your mixer and find an open track. I'm going to use insert 17 since it's open, empty, go to slot 1 and then look for Fruity Parametric EQ 2. Mine's up here, so I'm just going to click that and you're going to see this plugin, which looks nice. It's got some colors. So at first nothing's going to happen because nothing is linked to this mixer track, right? You need to send something to this track to get Fruity Parametric EQ to work. So I have this sample. It's a cool sample. I'm going to link that. Currently it's already linked, but say you have your sample loaded up in your channel rack, it's going to have these three things. You want to go to 17 or whatever track you got your parametric EQ on. So I put mine on 17. I showed you guys. So scroll all the way to 17. Now when I play, it'll light up. So now there's audio passing through to the plugin. So I'm just going to start off by telling you the different types of EQs. So all of these are bands and each has a different type. So I'll start out with the low pass, or actually I'll start with the high pass. So high pass, what it does, it also could be called a low cut since it cuts the low frequencies. A high pass lets all the high frequencies pass, right? It lets them go. So technically this is a high pass, I'm cutting all the lower and leaving all the higher. The lower frequencies are on the left, the higher frequencies are on the right. You can tell by the numbers, this is 20, this is 10,000. They're higher. You can consider this treble. It says up here actually treble and then bass. So this is a high pass. It's letting all the high frequencies pass. Let's see how it sounds. That's the most important part. So you won't be able to tell. You can't really tell the difference because these sub frequencies, you don't really hear them that much. You kind of just they're kind of inaudible. We don't really pick up the frequency. That's where 808s and kick drums usually reside. So let's move it a little deeper and see the difference. You can hear that when I slide it, all the bass kind of just leaves and it's left with like kind of a phone sounding. When you play music off your phone, it really doesn't have much bass. It has just all the higher frequencies. So let's see it one more time. So yeah, it's a big difference. Usually you want to do a high pass on samples when you have a bass instrument such as an 808 or a bass guitar. These bass frequencies and sub frequencies, they clash. So if you have too many frequencies occupying the same space, they'll clash and combine into a muddy bass mess that really just doesn't sound good. So you want each instrument to have its own kind of pocket. So what I'm doing right now is I'm making this the pocket where this synth is going to reside, and it's leaving this pocket for the bass instrument or 808 or the kick. So that is a high pass, and you're going to put it back to a low shelf. That's just what it starts out as. This is a shelf. It kind of just goes on. It doesn't cut anything. It really just keeps going. So now I'm going to show you the low pass. It's the exact opposite of a high pass. The low frequencies pass. So you can use context clues. So when I slide this, it's going to get rid of all the high frequencies and leave the low frequencies. So let's hear it. Just like I said about the sub frequencies, you can't really hear much here, if at all. I can hear, but just barely. And you can see most of the sound is just coming from the low mids. Since this cut, it doesn't cut straight off, like, you know, it stops at like what, 150 here. It's still gonna keep going. It's just very low. These are the loud parts, so they kind of push through the cut. If I really went hard on this cut, I can't hear anything. That's just sub frequencies right there. Yeah, so that is a low pass. It just lets the low frequencies pass through, cuts the highs, otherwise known as a high cut. And a high pass is also known as a low cut. You just swap those, right? So if you see high pass, you know it's a low cut. If you see low pass, you know it's a high cut. That's the two different, you know, passes and cuts. That's a big problem with people. It kind of confuses them. Yeah. So now I'm going to show you band pass. And a band pass is just a low cut or a low pass and a high pass combined in one. So you see, you only get really the mid frequencies here, mid, low, mids. So I can show you that it really is just a low pass and a high pass by, you know, creating it. So we're gonna do peaking here. So we're gonna do a high pass, or yeah, high pass. No, low pass, and then we're gonna do a high pass. And look at that. That's pretty much just a band pass. You know, just little things like that. So we're gonna hit up the low shelf and then the high shelf just to get it nice and flat again. So that's that with the different types. There's also another thing that I'll cover called resonant peaks. So that is where you have a sound, and the part of the sound which is the loudest, where the sound takes up the most frequencies, is called a resonant peak, and it really takes up a lot of room in your song. So you want to find where it's the loudest and then cut that slightly. You want to use a peaking type, which is just means that you can do a little bit like that, like, you know, make little things so we don't want to do something like this, because that would really remove a lot of the sound. You want to do little tiny cuts, and you could do that by using the scroll wheel, and just kind of scroll up to make it wider, scroll down to make it tighter. So we're going to look for the resonant peak, and this is how you do it. You make one big spike. It's called a scanner, and you want to scan it and find where the peak is, and you'll hear it, trust me. So that's one right there. Let me show you that again. So I can go over here. You know, it's a little loud, you know, you don't really hear much build up, but if I go over here, you hear that. You want to look out for that sound. That is a resonant peak. And as I keep going, it gets lower and lower. So if I wanted to make room, also it's just good practice to do this, make a small cut in that resonant peak, just so it doesn't take up that much room. And I see it as you making a little bit more space for other instruments. So see this little cut, that cut is so you're filling that cut in with the other instrument or something that could take that spot. So definitely look out for resonant peaks. Remember to scan your sound for them. And I'd say that's about it for the basics. I'll make a part 2 soon covering different things and different techniques you can use. For now, I will see you later.